my girlfriend screamed. "You're too clingy!" At 3 a.m., so I vanished without a word and never looked back. Hi, I'm Aiden, 25. And I still remember the exact second my world split in half, 3 a.m. on a Thursday. I woke up alone. The sheets beside me cold. Not the first time, but this time, it felt wrong. I waited. Checked my phone. Nothing. Then her phone, downstairs, started going off like a fire alarm. Ping after ping, screen lighting up like a disco ball in the dark. I texted her, simple and direct. "Hey, you okay? Where are you?" It was a question any boyfriend would ask. Especially one who wakes up in the middle of the night and finds his girlfriend of 2 years just gone. 30 seconds later, my phone rang. I answered relieved. But then, "Are you serious right now?" she was screaming. I blinked, still foggy from sleep. You weren't here. I was worried. You're suffocating me. Always checking in, always breathing down my neck. I can't even go out without you acting like I disappeared. I was sitting in the dark, stunned. She wasn't crying. She wasn't scared. She was furious. I whispered, "What?" "I'm just asking where you were." "You're too clingy, Aiden. I need space." "God, why can't you just give me space?" Then she hung up. Just like that. I sat in that silence with the weight of 2 years on my chest, living together for 8 months, saving up for a ring, planning a future. Now suddenly I was clingy for asking where she was at 3 a.m. Something inside me flipped. I looked around the apartment. Most of the furniture? Mine. Lease? In my name, she couldn't even sign it, credit score was garbage. I paid 70% of everything because she was between jobs. And in that moment, with her gone somewhere smelling like cigarettes and a night I didn't want to picture, I said it out loud to no one. "Okay." Then I made a call. Not to her. To my boss. "Family emergency. Need to take my vacation days, starting today." He said okay. Asked if everything was fine. I said, "Not yet." Then I called my best friend Caleb. He owed me a few favors. "I need your truck. And your muscles. Today." He asked no questions. Just said, "I'll bring coffee." At 10 a.m., he pulled up. She was still dead asleep. By 6 p.m., every last thing I owned, every fork, every sock, every damn memory that was mine, was packed and gone. No note. No speech. Just vacuumed the floor one last time and walked out. She said she needed space. She got a whole new state. By 9 p.m., I was on the highway with my life in a U-Haul and Caleb trailing behind in his truck like a getaway driver. I had no plan. No destination locked in. Just one job offer I'd shelved months ago, a good one, out of state, that I'd turned down because she couldn't leave her friends. Guess what? She had no problem leaving me at 3 a.m. The U-Haul rumbled down the interstate as I made calls. Cancelled my utilities from my phone. Deleted Venmo. Killed my old number. Switched SIM cards at a gas station 30 miles out. By midnight, I had no digital trace. By sunrise, I was gone. Let me rewind for a second. I wasn't some pushover before this. I was a software engineer. Good job, decent pay. I wasn't rich, but I was stable. I was the kind of guy who brought home her favorite takeout on bad days and left sticky notes on the mirror reminding her she was strong when she cried over job rejections. I was planning to propose that fall. I'd been saving for a ring. $4,200 tucked into an account she didn't know about. On the drive, I called the jeweler. Told him what happened. He gave me partial back, $3,100 in cash. Enough for a deposit on a clean apartment in a city where no one knew me. The job offer was still open. They remembered me. They were thrilled. 2 weeks later, I started fresh. New city. New number. New furniture I picked out for me. I didn't leave a note because there was nothing to explain. She wanted freedom. I gave her the whole damn sky. For 3 years I rebuilt. Quietly. Completely. Therapy? Yeah. I needed it. Trust issues? Understandable. But eventually, I was okay. Until last Tuesday. I was at a coffee shop near my office. Working on a project. Laptop open. Headphones in. I looked up when someone sat down across from me, uninvited. And there she was. My ex sitting there like no time had passed. like she hadn't detonated my life 3 years ago. She smiled. So this is where you've been hiding? I just stared. And for the first time since that night, my heart didn't race. It sank. You just vanished, she said, like I'd misplaced my keys instead of my life. Her voice was soft now. Calculated. Do you have any idea what you put me through? I closed my laptop. How did you find me? She smiled like it was a party trick. Your friend finally told me. Took some convincing, but I can be very persuasive. Lie. I knew it immediately. Caleb wouldn't have broken like that. Not after everything. We need to talk, she said. No, I said. We don't. She grabbed my wrist across the table. Not hard, but enough to make people look. Yes, we do. You left. No explanation. Nothing. That's not what people do, Aiden. I pulled my hand back. You told me I was too clingy and needed space. I gave it to you. That's exactly what you said at 3 a.m. I was stressed. She snapped. That night was complicated. I was just overwhelmed. You vanished without even talking to me. I stood to leave. You smelled like cigarettes and someone else's cologne. And I was done. And then she dropped it. I'm pregnant. Time slowed. The cafe got quiet, or maybe that was just the blood draining from my ears. Congratulations, I said. I'm sure the father will be thrilled. Her eyes locked with mine. You're the father. I laughed. Couldn't help it. It wasn't even mean, just absurd. We broke up 3 years ago, I said. That would make this the longest pregnancy in medical history. She fumbled. It's from before you left. I didn't find out until after. No. I cut her off. I'm not doing this. I have a 2-year-old son, she blurted. He's yours. I know he is. I stared at her, and for 1 second, the timeline technically worked. If she was already pregnant when I ghosted. But something felt off. Show me a picture, I said. Birth certificate. Something. She pulled out her phone, hands shaking. Showed me a photo. A random 2-year-old. Brown hair. Blue eyes. Could have been anyone. Birth certificate, father, unknown. I didn't know where you were, she said. But he's yours. I know he is. Then do a DNA test, I said. If he's mine, we'll figure it out. If not, lose my number again. She recoiled. Are you serious? After what you put me through, you're questioning me? You showed up 3 years later claiming I have a kid. Yeah, I'm questioning it. She clenched her jaw. Fine. But when it comes back positive, you owe me 3 years of child support. Backdated. If it comes back positive, my lawyer will figure out what I owe. Not you. I left her there, fuming in a coffee shop full of strangers. Walked to my car, hands shaking. A kid? After 3 years? I called Caleb. Hey. Weird question. Did my ex ever call you asking where I moved? He didn't even pause. She called me like 80 times. I told her I didn't know. She finally convinced me? He laughed. Dude. I never told her anything. Haven't heard from her in years. She lied about how she found me. Great start. And I knew right then, something way deeper than a surprised toddler was waiting underneath all this. 2 days later, she texted me from a new number, one I hadn't blocked yet. DNA test scheduled. Saturday. 2 p.m. Be there or I'm filing for child support without you. Cool. Threats. Classy. I replied. Send me the lab name and address. I'll verify it. She sent me a clinic I'd never heard of. Googled it. Sketchy. The website looked like it was built by someone's cousin in 2003. Half the reviews were glowing. The other half were 1-star warnings that screamed, "Don't do it. Fake results. Scam alert." So I called a lawyer friend. One who specializes in family law. He didn't even let me finish the sentence. Do not go to that lab, he said. You set up your own test through a court-approved facility. Chain of custody. Legally admissible. No shortcuts. So I texted her back. Not using that lab. Here are 3 certified facilities. Pick one. I'll meet you there. Her response? Are you serious? I already paid for this one. You're so controlling. There it was again. That word. Controlling. Apparently. Using a real lab so I don't get scammed into 18 years of child support for someone else's kid. Equals controlling now. I didn't reply. So she called me. 12 times. I didn't answer. Then her mother called. Another number I hadn't blocked. You need to stop playing games with my daughter, she said. She's been through hell raising your child while you lived it up in another state. I took a deep breath. Hi. First time I'm hearing about this supposed child. I'm happy to take a DNA test through a certified court-approved lab. If he's mine, I'll handle everything legally and properly. She doesn't want lawyers. The mom snapped. She just wants you to be a father. Then she should have told me 3 years ago. Not ambush me in a coffee shop like a bad Lifetime movie. She was scared. You traumatized her. With your jealousy. Your need to control everything. Click. I hung up. I was done being rewritten as the villain in a story I hadn't even been invited to. She picked a lab from the list the next morning. Finally. Saturday. 11 a.m. I got there early. Sat in the parking lot, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror, trying to steady my breathing. She showed up 10 minutes late. With her mother. And a man. Boyfriend? Baby daddy? Backup hype man? Who knows? And the kid. He was actually cute. Tiny. Curious. Looked at me like I was a stranger who might know the rules to a game no one had explained yet. He kept asking. Who's that? She said. Someone we need to talk to. Lab tech came out. Explained the process. Swabs. Chain of custody. Signatures. Results in 3 to 5 business days. Then the kid cried. When they tried to swab him, he freaked. She scolded him. Stop being difficult. Just open your mouth. He cried harder. I don't know a lot about kids, but even I knew yelling at a scared toddler in a sterile lab isn't how you build cooperation. The tech suggested waiting. We sat in tense silence. Her mom glared. The mystery man scrolled Instagram. Eventually, they got the swabs. I did mine. Signed the forms. As I was walking out, she followed me to my car. When this comes back positive, she said, we'll need to talk about money. Lawyers are expensive. I cut her off. If he's mine, I'll do it properly. Not whatever under the table guilt trip this is. You're still trying to control everything. She hissed. This is why I needed space. This exact crap. I turned to her, dead calm. You vanished at 3 a.m., screamed at me for asking where you were, and I gave you the space you wanted. You had 3 years to contact me through legal channels if there was a child. You chose now. You chose this. So yeah, I'm controlling the process, because I have to. She stared at me like I just hit her. You'll regret this, she said. When you see what you missed. When you see how much child support costs. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'll just regret wasting 2 years on someone who weaponized the word clingy every time I asked for respect. Her mother came running out then, yelling something I tuned out. I got in my car. Locked the doors. And just sat there, wondering how I'd ended up in the middle of this warped reality show. All I could do now was wait. 5 business days for a test. To see if my life would get rewritten again. Wednesday afternoon. Middle of a meeting. Buzz. Email from the lab. Subject DNA results, 8 /redacted. Probability of paternity, 0%. Not 1%. Not maybe. 0. I excused myself from the meeting, walked straight to the stairwell, and just sat there. Head against the wall. Hands trembling, not from shock, not even anger. Just relief. And a wave of white-hot rage underneath it. I forwarded the results to my lawyer friend. He called immediately. You could press charges, he said. She tried to commit paternity fraud. You've got enough documentation, text messages, her trying to use a shady lab, even the threats. Would it even stick? I asked. Doubt it. Courts are overloaded. And it'd just drag you into more drama. But if she ever comes for you again, legally or financially, you've got bulletproof proof she lied. He was right. And still, I was pissed. 3 years of silence. Then she shows up with a toddler and a trap. I didn't respond with a speech. Didn't give her the satisfaction of a phone call. I simply forwarded the lab results to her number with no message. 5 minutes later. Calling. New number. Not blocked yet. I answered. You sabotaged the test, she shrieked. You paid someone off, didn't you? There's no way that's accurate. It's a court-approved facility with a chain of custody, I said. You watched me take the swab. The child is not mine. This conversation is over. No, we are not done. You lied to me. You lied to my face, in public, about a child. That's not a conversation. That's a scam. You owe me for the 3 years I spent. You spent them lying. I hung up. Blocked the number. Then the next wave started. Calls. Texts. New numbers. Her cousin. Her mom again. Her sister. The one that cracked me up most? A message from Kyle, a guy I hadn't heard from in 5 years. Be a man. Step up. Kids need fathers. I responded. Not mine. Ask your cousin why she lied. Then blocked him too. That afternoon, I changed my number again. New SIM. New digits. I told 10 people. That's it. $35 and 1 hour of inconvenience to disappear all over again. Worth it. But I should have known. This wasn't over. 2 weeks later at work, I got served. A process server walked right into our office holding a manila envelope. Lawsuit. She was suing me for emotional distress and financial damages resulting from abandonment during a vulnerable time. $45,000. Itemized. Like an invoice for delusion. $15,000 for emotional trauma. $10,000 for stress-induced medical issues. $20,000 for lost wages and career opportunities. I stood there in the hallway, papers in hand, coworkers staring. I disappeared to protect my peace. Now I was being dragged into court. Because I gave her exactly what she asked for. Space. I walked back to my desk with the envelope in my hand like it was radioactive. My boss, bless him, caught the whole scene and pulled me aside. You good? He asked. Not even close. He nodded. You need time off for this, take it. Just keep me in the loop. I sat at my desk staring at the lawsuit like it was written in a different language. Then I called my real lawyer. Not the friend. A full-on, certified, no-nonsense woman named Meredith who billed $400 an hour and had a reputation for making grown men cry in depositions. She read the documents and actually laughed. This is one of the weakest cases I've seen all year, she said. You weren't married. You didn't share finances. You didn't abandon a dependent, you ended a relationship. She's claiming stress-related medical conditions. Meredith snorted. Let me guess. Therapy bills, maybe some Xanax receipts. Yep. And she's blaming me for lost job opportunities. Sure. And I blame the weather for my ex's bad haircut. We filed a response that included the certified DNA results, screenshots of her texts calling me controlling, and her attempt to use a non-legit lab first. I also had texts from her mother, her cousin, and even Kyle, all implying I was the father, before the test said otherwise. Meredith filed a counterclaim. Attempted paternity fraud. Harassment. Legal fees. And just like that, we were in it. The legal version of a street fight in slow motion. During discovery, we asked for documentation of her stress-induced conditions. She sent over 2 therapy invoices, a prescription for mild anxiety, and screenshots of Instagram DMs from her followers saying, "Stay strong." We pulled her public Instagram. She'd forgotten to make it private. 2 weeks after I moved out, she'd posted party photos. Clubbing. Traveling. One post read, "Living my best life, finally. Single and free. God, I needed this." Meredith flagged that one immediately. Her lawyer, a guy who looked like he ordered his suits off Instagram ads, tried to paint me as financially manipulative. She depended on him, he said. He paid most of the bills during their relationship, then ghosted without warning, leaving her emotionally and financially stranded. Meredith just smiled. Paying bills during a relationship is not a legal obligation after a breakup, she said. It's called dating, not contract law. We prepped for the hearing. And I'll be honest, I was still shaken. I didn't want revenge. I wanted quiet. But she kept pushing. In court, she wore a conservative dress and fake cried through half the proceeding. Her mother sat behind her with tissues and an expression that said Oscar-worthy performance, honey. Her lawyer started with a dramatic opening. He used words like abandonment, Emotional manipulation, life-altering distress. The judge raised an eyebrow. Did your client ever file a missing persons report when he left? No, Your Honor. Did she contact a lawyer or the court system when she realized he had relocated? Well, no. Did she know where he grew up? His family's contact info? Employer? She said he blocked her on social media. Social media is not a legal barrier, the judge said. Continue. Then it was our turn. Meredith presented the timeline. The fight at 3 a.m. The sudden breakup. The ghosts move out. The DNA test. The 0% probability. She handed over the receipts. Literally. Your Honor, she said, this isn't abandonment. It's a breakup. One that was executed swiftly, cleanly, and legally. Then she put the Instagram post on the screen. Living my best life. Single and free. Even the judge chuckled. Doesn't look very emotionally distressed to me, he said. The hearing lasted 2 hours. And the moment the judge dismissed her case, I felt something in my chest that had been coiled for years finally unravel. But then, he looked at our counterclaim. For the attempted paternity fraud, I don't see malicious criminal intent, but I do see deception. I am, however, ordering the plaintiff to pay the defendant's legal fees. He banged the gavel. $2,500 owed to me. 90 days to pay. She gasped. I don't have $2,500. The judge didn't flinch. You should have thought about that before filing a frivolous lawsuit. Outside the courthouse, her mother hissed at me. You ruined her life. She tried to ruin mine. You're bitter. That's all this is. No. I'm free. And I walked away. Hands shaking. But heart calm. The storm was finally behind me. You'd think that'd be the end, right? Legal win. Case dismissed. Court ordered reimbursement. Proof in my hand that the kid wasn't mine and she'd lied. But nope. Because people like her, they don't leave quietly. 3 weeks after the ruling, I got an alert from the courthouse system. She'd filed for bankruptcy. My lawyer friend texted me the case number with a shrug emoji. Don't expect that $2,500. Ever. I didn't. I'd already written it off. But I still had a hard time sleeping for a while. Not from fear. From sheer disbelief. She tried to rewrite history. Tried to rewrite me. It wasn't just a lawsuit. She'd gone nuclear on every mutual we had left. Screenshots started floating back to me through old friends and distant acquaintances. Posts on her Instagram stories. Some men run from responsibility. You think you know someone, until they vanish when you're vulnerable. He ghosted me when I needed him most. Left me pregnant and alone. Comments rolled in with fire emojis and men ain't s asterisk asterisk. Asterisk and stay strong, queen. I didn't reply. Didn't comment. Didn't post a single word. Because I still had the receipts. Literal, legal, notarized receipts. But the worst wasn't the lies. It was what she sent next. A payment request. Through a Cash App one forgot I had installed. $4,000. Labeled emotional damages. I laughed out loud. Declined. Then she mailed my parents a letter. Yes. Mailed. Like it was 1998. It started with, as your son's former partner and the mother of his almost child. And ended with, I hope you'll talk some sense into him. This is still your grandchild, even if he refuses to see it. My mom texted me a photo of the letter. My dad called and just said, do I even need to ask? No, I said. She's grasping. That ship's not only sailed, it sank and got eaten by a sea monster. Then the final punchline. She relists the kid's paternity on Facebook. I don't know what's worse. That she put Father Aiden M. Or that the kid's profile picture was him in a onesie that said, Daddy's little man. Meredith, my lawyer, said, technically, that's not illegal. Just deeply pathetic. So I did what I should have done months ago. Deleted the Cash App. Locked down every social profile I still had. Changed my number again. And made a private document folder titled, in case she ever tries again. Inside. DNA results. Court ruling. Emails. Screenshots. Every message. Every threat. Every lie. Bound. Labeled. Dated. Because I was done being the villain in her fanfiction. That weekend I sat on my couch with my new girlfriend, yeah, I didn't mention her yet, did I? She's great. Smart. Kind. Doesn't freak out if I text. Where are you? At night. She knows the broad strokes of what happened. Not the details. She just looked at me that night and said, "You okay?" I smiled for the first time in what felt like years. "Yeah," I said. "I actually am." Because for the first time in forever, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I'd been called controlling, jealous, possessive. But all I ever wanted was a partner who'd answer a simple question honestly. "Where were you?" That's not control. That's respect. And now I had it. A few months passed. Quiet, finally. No calls. No emails. No process servers lurking in the bushes. Just the steady rhythm of normal life, the way it should have always been. I'd almost started to forget the chaos. Almost. Then one night, my girlfriend and I were having dinner, nothing fancy. Pasta, wine, music playing low. Her phone buzzed. She checked it and froze. This is weird," she said. "What?" She turned her screen to me. A message. From someone she didn't know. From her. "Hey. Sorry to reach out like this. I just wanted you to know who you're dating. I was with Aiden for 2 years. He ghosted me when I was pregnant. He's not who you think he is." I felt it like a slap. Not because I believed it. Because I couldn't believe she was still trying. Still rewriting history. Still fishing for control in a story she'd already lost. My girlfriend raised an eyebrow. "Is that the ex?" I nodded. "Yeah. She's persistent. That's one word for it." She looked at the message again, then deleted it. Didn't even respond. Then she asked, calm as anything, "Want more wine?" I stared at her. This woman who didn't yell. Who didn't manipulate. Who didn't start wars over 3 a.m. check-ins. And I realized something. For 2 years I'd been with someone who made me feel like I was too much just for caring. And now, I was with someone who didn't flinch when my past tried to rear its twisted head again. I poured us both another glass. After she went to bed, I sat on the couch and did something I hadn't done in years. I wrote. Not a revenge post. Not a Reddit rant. Just a document titled, "What Actually Happened?" I laid out the story. For myself. The fight. The move. The DNA test. The lawsuit. The Instagram drama. Everything. Not because I needed to prove anything. But because it felt good to say, here's what happened. I lived through it. I survived it. The next day, I mailed a copy of the court's dismissal to her last known address. Certified. Just in case. No note. Just facts. I didn't hear back. Until 3 weeks later, when I saw a comment on a mutual friend's baby shower photo. Her. Again. Some people just run when things get hard. I learned that the hard way. Same tune. New verse. I didn't engage. Because here's the truth. You can't argue with someone who's addicted to being the victim. You can't heal someone who'd rather hurt you than face their own mirror. And you definitely can't win against someone who thinks consequences are optional. So I stopped playing. Stopped watching. Blocked her from everything again. Then I did something radical. Something she'd probably never understand. I let go. Because winning isn't proving them wrong. It's being so far out of their reach, they can't even throw shade that hits. And that was the real freedom. About 6 months later, I got a letter. An actual envelope, addressed to my new apartment, with no return name. Just a familiar handwriting I hadn't seen since we used to leave notes on the fridge. Got groceries. Love you. For a second, I didn't open it. Just held it, staring at my name. Inside. Aiden. You probably hate me. I can't blame you. I've been telling everyone you abandoned me, but the truth is I told you to go. I just didn't expect you to actually do it. That morning when you asked where I was, I panicked. I wasn't used to being with someone who actually noticed when I left. I thought needing space meant I was strong. Turns out, I was just scared. I lied. About the baby. About a lot of things. Not to hurt you. Honestly? I don't even know why. Maybe to feel like I still mattered. Maybe because I was still trying to win at a game I didn't understand. Anyway, I won't contact you again. I know I caused damage. And I know I was the one who set the fire, then screamed when you ran. I hope you're okay. I heard from someone that you're doing well. That makes me happy. Really. Goodbye for real this time. J. No apology for the lawsuit. No mention of the fake paternity test. Just a ghost trying to say goodbye before vanishing again. I didn't respond. Didn't need to. Closure wasn't the letter. Closure was me, reading it without flinching. Without rage. Without that old ache in my stomach. I folded it once and tucked it in a drawer marked past. Because that's what it was now. My girlfriend walked in later, kissed me on the forehead. Want to go for a walk? She asked. And I did. Not because I needed to escape anything. But because I finally wasn't running anymore. It's been a year. One full orbit around the sun since I got served at my job, since I swabbed the inside of my cheek wondering if a 2-year-old I'd never met might be mine. Spoiler, life is calm now. But not boring. My girlfriend and I moved in together a few months ago, small place, 2 bedrooms, a balcony that catches sunsets like it's trying to flirt with us. She wanted to paint the walls. I said go wild. Now the living room is sage green and smells like books and coffee. She knows the full story now. Not just the headlines. All of it. One night I told her, the fight, the ghost move, the fake kid, the lawsuit, even the gas station SIM card that started it all. She didn't flinch. Didn't judge. Didn't say, wow, that's insane. Like some people do when they mean, why didn't you run sooner? She just asked, what do you need from me now? That question hit harder than any accusation ever could. Because nobody had ever asked me that before. What do I need? Back then? I needed someone who didn't turn love into a power struggle. I needed honesty at 3 a.m. I needed silence that meant peace, not punishment. Now? I just need quiet consistency. And that's what I've got. No lawsuits. No Instagram drama. No mystery children. Just breakfast. A woman who texts back. And sleep, real, full, uninterrupted sleep. Sometimes I still get friend requests from people I haven't heard from in years. Maybe mutuals. Maybe her, under fake names. I delete them. Not out of fear. Just out of boredom. Chaos isn't interesting to me anymore. You know what is? Making dinner with someone who doesn't play games. Tiling the bathroom floor ourselves, even though we suck at it. Saying, where are you? And hearing, be home soon. Without an ounce of tension. Turns out love doesn't need fireworks. It just needs presence. And boundaries. And the strength to keep them, even when someone calls you cruel for having them. I used to think walking away made me cold. Now I know it made me whole. I ran into someone last weekend I hadn't seen since before the fallout. Tyler, an old coworker from my first job out of college, back when I was still living paycheck to paycheck and microwaving pasta in a shared apartment. He didn't recognize me at first. Dude! Aiden? You look different. He meant better. And I did feel it, deeper in my skin, steadier in my bones. We grabbed coffee, caught up. At one point, he leaned back and asked, so whatever happened with, her? I paused. I could have unloaded it all, the screaming match, the vanishing act, the fake paternity claim, the lawsuit, the Instagram drama, the emotional wreckage she tried to drop on me like a piano from a balcony. But I didn't. I just said, she tried to blow up my life. It didn't work. He blinked, then nodded slowly. That's clean, he said. Wish I could say the same about my ex. It struck me how many of us are walking around with scars we never talk about. Not because we're ashamed, but because we survived. And we don't owe anyone the story of how. Tyler and I finished our drinks. He asked if I wanted to come to his game night sometime. I said yeah. On my way home, I passed by a park I hadn't visited since I moved to this city. I sat on a bench. Watched a group of dads wrangling toddlers into a sandbox. One of them held a juice box in one hand and his sanity in the other. And I thought, if I ever have a kid someday, they'll grow up with clarity. They'll know that love is a quiet hand on your back when you're scared, not a raised voice when you're vulnerable. They'll know that when someone cares about you, they don't need to be chased down at 3 a.m. They just answer the question. And they'll know that their dad once walked through hell with a backpack and a U-Haul and came out the other side clean. It's strange how peace feels when you're not used to it. At first, it felt like something was missing, like the absence of chaos was suspicious, like a trap waiting to spring. But eventually, I realized that feeling was just withdrawal. Because for 2 years, I'd been conditioned to equate quiet with the calm before the next explosion. Now, quiet is just quiet. No subtext. No tension. No eggshells under every conversation. A few nights ago, I was on the couch, half asleep, movie playing in the background. My girlfriend, God, I still don't know how I got so lucky, came out of the bedroom in one of my old t-shirts and asked, "Did you lock the door?" I said, "Yeah." She nodded, kissed my forehead, and went back to bed. That was it. No suspicion. No snark. No weaponized silence. It hit me later, brushing my teeth. That moment felt unremarkable. And that was the miracle. There was a time when love felt like a job interview I was constantly failing. Now it feels like Sunday. Every day. And here's the wildest part, I'm grateful for everything that happened. Seriously. If she hadn't snapped at me at 3 a.m. If I hadn't packed a bag and disappeared. If she hadn't shown up years later with a lie in one hand and a toddler in the other. I might still be there. Stuck in a place I was too loyal to leave. Too scared to see clearly. Too understanding to protect myself. I used to think love was something you earned. Now I know, real love doesn't make you beg for scraps. Real love answers the phone. Real love shows up. Real love doesn't sue you for $45,000 because you refuse to play pretend. I kept a folder on my computer. Still have it. All the documents. Emails. Court papers. The DNA test. The letter. I haven't opened it in months. Not because I'm afraid of it. Because I don't need it anymore. The past is organized. Filed. Done. And my life, the one she thought she could shatter, is not only intact. It's better. So, the other day, I got a package. No return address. Inside? A small box. Wrapped in tissue paper. And at the bottom, underneath the crumpled wrap, a bracelet. Leather. Worn. Old. I recognized it immediately. It was mine. A gift she gave me during our first Christmas together. Back when we still pretended we were good for each other. Back when I thought difficult meant passionate, and manipulative meant mysterious. There was a note inside. Figured this belonged to you. I'm finally throwing things out. That was it. No name. No signature. Just 7 words that somehow managed to sound like both surrender and accusation. I sat there staring at it for a long time. Not because I missed her. Not even close. But because I remembered who I was when I wore that bracelet. A version of me who believed love had to hurt to be real. A guy who thought walking on eggshells was normal. Who measured affection in apologies and silence. Who kept lowering the bar until he couldn't even see it anymore. I don't wear that bracelet now. I don't wear anything she gave me. Not out of spite. Out of clarity. You can't heal in a costume you wore while bleeding. I put it in a donation box. Along with some old clothes, a few books I outgrew, and a sweatshirt that still smelled faintly like 2019. Because the past doesn't need to be burned. It just needs to be released. That night, my girlfriend and I sat on the floor of our living room, eating pizza straight from the box. She reached for the last slice and smirked. "You gonna fight me for it?" I said. "Nope. That one's yours." She blinked. "Really?" "Yeah. I've already got everything I want." And I meant it. Not just the pizza. The life. The peace. The absence of screaming matches and passive-aggressive guilt and surprised children. It took me 25 years to learn this. Love isn't supposed to feel like walking through a minefield in socks. It's supposed to feel like this. Messy. Honest. Quiet. Solid. I got an email last week. From a name I didn't recognize at first. Subject line. "Hi, I think we have something in common." I hovered over it. Almost deleted it. But curiosity won. It was from a guy named Brent. Turns out he dated her. After me. Short version? Same pattern. He wrote. "She told me you ghosted her when she was pregnant. I believed it. She said you were manipulative, possessive, emotionally unavailable. But the timeline never added up. And when I finally pushed for the truth, she blew up. Said I was just like you. I found the court records. The DNA test. The lawsuit. I just wanted you to know. I get it. You're not crazy." I stared at the screen for a while. Then closed my laptop. Because here's the thing. I didn't need his validation. I already had mine. Still, I appreciated it, not because it changed anything, but because for once someone saw through the fog without me having to explain the weather. There's something powerful about surviving someone who insists they're the victim in every story they start. It teaches you how to trust your memory again, how to listen to your gut, how to build fire exits into your boundaries. A few years ago, I would have reached out, tried to compare notes, maybe even commiserate over a drink. Now, I don't need the camaraderie of shared damage. I've got better people in my life. Whole people. Present people. I forwarded Brent's email to my lawyer with the note. No action needed. Just FYI, she's got a pattern. Meredith replied within 5 minutes. Thanks. Already assumed. She always was efficient. That night, my girlfriend found me sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. You good? Yeah, I said. Just reminded of how lucky I am. She sat beside me, pulled my arm around her, and leaned in. We didn't say much. Didn't have to. That's the thing about peace. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shout over the noise. It just shows up and stays. And when it does, you realize how little you miss the people who only ever brought chaos with a smile. Last weekend I went back home. Not for her. Not for drama. For something a little more complicated, my niece's birthday. She's not related to her, this is my sister's daughter. 7 years old. Obsessed with dinosaurs and glitter. She'd asked if I could come. Personally. Left me a voicemail that said, Uncle Aiden, if you don't come, I'll be sad and I'll cry a little but I'll forgive you, but don't make me do that. So I showed up. Cake. Balloons. A backyard full of folding chairs and the chaotic energy of 10 children on sugar highs. She saw me walk in and sprinted so hard she almost face-planted. Launched into my arms. You came! Of course I did. You threatened me with tears, remember? My sister shot me a look across the yard, half grateful, half do not you dare bring up the ex here. I nodded. We were good. Everything was fine. Until I went to grab a soda from the cooler by the patio table. A voice behind me. Wow. Look who crawled out of his little tech cave. I didn't even have to turn around. It was her sister. One of the flying monkeys. I took a slow breath, popped the soda, and turned. Hey, Claire. Still professionally nosy? She blinked. Just surprised to see you. I heard you were, what's the phrase she used, emotionally radioactive. I smiled, took a sip. Well, I did irradiate her with a court-verified paternity test. So yeah, I guess. Claire tilted her head. You know, she really did love you. Still does, I think. That's unfortunate. Because what she loved wasn't me, it was control. And maybe free rent. Claire laughed, but there was an edge. Cold. No, I said. Clear. She shrugged and walked away, heels wobbling slightly in the grass. 2 steps later she turned and added. She's engaged now. Thought you'd want to know. I didn't. But I nodded anyway. Hope he owns a lawyer and a backup phone. She didn't laugh that time. Just kept walking. Later that day, my niece asked me if I was married. I said, not yet. She looked serious. You should marry someone funny and nice. Like Mom. But not like Aunt Claire. She's mean. I smiled. Deal. And I meant it. Because whoever I marry someday, it'll be someone who makes hard things easier, not everything harder. Someone who doesn't make me question my worth in the dark. Someone who doesn't scream when I care too loudly. Someone who sees love as a home, not a weapon. That night, back in my apartment, my girlfriend curled up next to me with cold toes and a movie queued up. She didn't ask how the party went. She didn't need to. She just handed me the blanket, kissed my cheek, and said, Still glad you came home to me. And I said, More than ever. Last night, I pulled out an old photo album from my closet, not for nostalgia, but because I needed to confirm something. There was a picture of me and her at a New Year's party, one of the last before everything cracked. We looked like a couple in love, arms around each other, champagne flutes in hand, the illusion intact. But I remember that night. I remember her disappearing for 40 minutes. I remember asking where she went. I remember the look, like I'd just accused her of a crime. And I remember apologizing. That was the pattern. She crossed lines. I drew them. She called it control. I called it protecting myself. I stared at that photo for a while, then slid it back in the sleeve. The past doesn't get to rewrite itself. Not with fake kids. Not with lawsuits. Not with party tricks and apologies wrapped in manipulation. And not with old pictures pretending we were ever on the same team. It's a quiet morning now. The kind where the light filters in just right and the coffee tastes better for no reason at all. I'm sitting at my desk, watching my girlfriend stretch in the kitchen, yawning into a mug that says, "This is my calm cup." She bought it as a joke after the first time I told her the story. The whole thing. Start to finish. Not the Reddit version. The real one. The one where I almost lost myself trying to love someone who only loved power. She didn't say much that night. Just held my hand, leaned in, and whispered, "You didn't deserve any of that." And maybe that's what I needed most. Not revenge. Not justice. Just to be seen without suspicion. It took years to get here. Years of doubting my memory, questioning my gut, and wondering if I was too much. If caring too loudly made me a villain. But I know now, it never did. Love isn't supposed to feel like surveillance. It's not a courtroom. It's not a chess match. It's not silence used as punishment or space used as a threat. It's someone saying, "I'll be home soon," and meaning it. I still have the court papers. Still have the DNA results. Still have the voicemail she left 3 days after she lost the case. "You'll always be the one who left." And yeah, I was. And I am. And I'm proud of that. Because leaving her was the first time I ever chose myself. So now, when someone asks what happened, why I moved cities overnight, why I changed my number 3 times, why I disappeared from a life I helped build, I tell them this. I loved someone who didn't know how to be loved. And when she called me clingy for caring, I gave her the one thing she asked for. Space. And I never came back. Not out of pride. Not out of spite. But because healing means protecting the peace you bled for. It means locking the door after you walk through it, not looking back to see if they followed. It means building a life so solid, so honest, that the past has no doorway left to sneak through. And it means waking up beside someone who answers softly. When you whisper at 3 a.m. "Are you okay?" Because real love isn't loud. It just stays. And when someone truly wants to be found, they don't make you chase them through the dark.